We've heard a lot in recent years about the lack of affordable and accessible child care for Kentucky families. A new report says that shortage of quality care also extends to families of school-age children, particularly those living in low-income or rural areas. According to the Kentucky Out-of-School Alliance, the way the state regulates after-school programs is playing a big part in that shortage.
The Kentucky Out-of-School Alliance is a nonprofit organization that basically, how I sum it up, is we're the biggest cheerleaders for after-school and summer learning programs here in the Commonwealth. We've seen lots of research done on kind of child care deserts and what the child care industry looks like for families across Kentucky. The need for child care doesn't end when a student enters kindergarten. The benefits of after-school programs for students are well documented. We now have decades of research showing that they have positive effects on what we call the ABCs. So school attendance, school behavior, and coursework. For every one student enrolled in a program here in Kentucky, 4 more are waiting to get in. That's above the national average, and so it's something that we have to confront. The KYOSA Data Explorer is a first of its kind of research and data tool that exclusively looks at after school and summer learning programs here in the Commonwealth. When we look at the top barriers for accessing high quality after school learning experiences for families, the #1 barrier is just program availability. There's not a program available. And so what we've seen is, and not all that surprising, is we've seen a lot of after-school programs clustered around Louisville, Lexington, and northern Kentucky. And so our rural counties and rural communities are really being left behind. I think that the impact of underserving students who live in rural communities is just not having the same opportunities as their peers, right? So when we talk about the benefits of after-school programs being, improved school attendance, improved school behavior, improved coursework, we are leaving out a huge swath of students who just do not have those opportunities. Increasingly, we also see the correlation between low workforce participation in a lot of our rural communities. Well, if there's not a safe place for your kid to go after school, how are you going to fully participate in the workforce? And so we're seeing this not only impacting kids, impacting families, but impacting our economy overall. If we had more safe, engaging, high-quality places for kids to go after school, on school breaks, throughout the summer months especially, because summer is a huge thing that we haven't really addressed here in Kentucky, we could see higher workforce participation in all communities, but especially in rural communities. We've identified about 1,200, almost 1,300 child care centers throughout the state of Kentucky that are licensed to serve the school-age population. But the way our licensing kind of regulatory structure in Kentucky works, we don't actually know if they are. They are licensed to do that, but we don't know if they actually have slots available for school-age families. And of that 1,200 to 1,300 programs, we know that only about 200 of them are school-age only programs. And Kentucky is one of the now starting to be very few states that doesn't have any state funding directed to supporting after-school and summer learning programs. So we're just relying on federal funding and then the Child Care Assistance Program, which kind of has a whole nother few hurdles of participation from the regulatory end. We know that policymakers are interested right now going into the General Assembly session to talk about childcare. And again, I think the biggest thing that we want to bring up in this conversation is we have to include school-age programs and school-age youth in this conversation, because the needs of students who are in 2nd and 3rd grade are not the same as childcare needs for toddlers and infants. Both incredibly important, just the needs are different, and sometimes we have to differentiate those things so that we're providing high quality environments for everybody.
Community learning centers and youth camps also make up Kentucky's regulated after-school programs. According to the report, there are 177 federally funded learning centers and 151 youth camps in the state.